G'day YouTube, my name's Lance, welcome to Bundy Bear's Shed. Well, the weather report, look, it's just starting to get hot and steamy here a little bit. I just had a look at the phone on the Bureau of Meteorology app, and 17 to 31 today, but no rain. But at this early part of the day, there's quite a bit of cloud cover, so it's sort of holding the heat in a little bit, but it will be quite humid. So yeah, one of those, we're coming up to that time of year when, yeah, you just sweat and sweat and sweat, and that's fine. Just how you go with it all. Yeah, it's the cool part of the year for working in the sheds left us now, but that's all right. Pardon me. Yeah, we're up and racing there. I noticed on the ute this morning, I got the black snow on the ute, and now I'll probably see if I can, for those overseas, you'll think, black snow, that sounds bloody crook. But look, it's not. It's because we live in a sugarcane growing area, and they often cut the sugarcane, you know, with the big Oztoft or Cameco John Deere harvesters. And the harvesters nowadays, they can do quite a bit of green cutting, which means they don't have to have a fire to get rid of the trash. But sometimes if it's laid over, or yeah, it just depends on the conditions of it. They will decide to have a cane fire, and they just burn that block that they're going to cut, and then they come through with the harvesters, and the harvesters have got less trash to get rid of out the back. And yeah, look, it's different paddocks, they do different things. But what happens then is with the fire, you know, with the fire you get a draft coming up through a fire or around a fire. It causes its own draft. Well, sometimes the little bits of charcoaly carbon from the leaves get right up high in the atmosphere, and they'll move across to another suburb and just drop, and you get little black dots on your lawn and things like that. But look, it's only ash. It's nothing, no harm done. And I noticed this morning there's some out the front yard, and there's some on the bonnet of the Land Cruiser, because I cleared out the carport to put my Land Cruiser back under cover, but Jude's got a little Mitsubishi ASX that stays under cover. But then one of our old runarounds when we had the business was a little Yaris, and a great little car, little automatic, two-door Yaris, and she's been polishing that, ready to sell it. We're going to hock it off soon. We just don't need the extra car. And yeah, so she's taken over that carport and to give it a polish and tidy up, and she's telling me yesterday that I've got to put new wiper rubbers on it, and bloody I'll check the brake pads and all that. We just got to make sure it's a good roadworthy vehicle before we let it go. But yeah, so I've lost me bloody car park again, and I pulled the boat out and shifted the camper trailer across, and I got the boat up on the hoist here again, but I've lost me park. So my ute out in the weather again. I do have a place where I can nose it into the shed, but I can't get it right into the shed, so yeah, anyway, that's just how it goes. Yeah, sometimes you get the boot, and I got the boot. We went away last weekend to Vintage Machinery Rally at Woodford, run by the AMRSQ, which is Antique Machinery Restoration Society of Queensland, and they're based at the Caboolture Historic Village where they have their meetings and that, but it wasn't working out from having a rally there, so they're back to having a rally at the Woodford Showgrounds. Now, Woodford's sort of west of Caboolture, Wamuran, Caboolture, Wamuran, Mount Mee sort of area, towards Kilcoy. And to get there, we go down the highway, then we take the Landsborough turn off along the Steve Irwin Way, and then when we get to Beerwar, we pop in from Beerwar. But Greg was leading, going down, and his GPS told him to turn off at Landsborough. And we thought, oh, well, I sort of knew the back roads there, but yeah, I would have kept going just because it's nice straight road. So I got on the two-way and I said, hey, Greg, I would have kept going. And he says, yeah, well, mine's saying go here, and mine was saying go, my GPS was going straight, because I have the GPS on, because it actually gives you GPS speedo on the GPS, where you have different tyre size and things like that. As your tyres wear, your speedo for your miles an hour, kilometres an hour, it gets out. And pardon me. So on the GPS on the dash, it gives you an actual GPS readout, which is pretty accurate. So if you put a destination in there, well, that comes up, you know, altitude above sea level and things like that. So anyway, we thought, oh, bugger it, we'll go up through Landsborough, up towards Mullaney. Well, that bloody road, gosh, it was steep. And we were both hauling tractors up the top there, and yeah, so he said, look, he said, you got a better idea of lay of the land, because I used to work down that area and fixing tractors and things like that. So he said, oh, how about you come around? And he said, I'll follow you, you got a bit more idea of the lay of the area. And I said, oh, well, okay then, if that's what you want to do. So anyway, we're going up the range from Landsborough, and then there's a little road that goes to the left that takes you off to the, it comes out at Peachester, roughly. And yeah, well, we took tractors in through around there on Trailer. What a windy old road. But anyway, it was good. We got there okay. And on Friday, we got to the grounds about, it was just after midday. It was 4 hours run. We left Bundaberg at 8 o'clock, and we got down there about midday. And didn't have a stop, just got going. And yeah, hook on and away we go. Oh, we stopped to go to the toilet at Maryborough, but apart from that, we just drove through. And anyway, when we got down to the rally, the road out in front of the rally, I can't think of the name of the road now, Newham Road, I think it might have been. It was busy as buggery, but what had happened is on the road that we come through, from Beerwar through to the Diagula Highway near Woodford, near a pet motel there was an accident, so they blocked the road off. So we were lucky to get through there, but then coming from the other way, between Kilcoy and Woodford, around the back road, there was another accident, and it was a fatality. So all the traffic was diverted down this other road, Newham Road, and come right past the Woodford Showground where we were, because we're thinking, geez, that's bloody busy, must be school time, you know. But what it was a couple of accidents, which was unfortunate. But yeah, look, it was a good ground. The Woodford Showground for a vintage machinery rally is a good ground. Yeah, powered camping. $25 a night for powered camping, which is fine. That's great. I'm going to put forward that our rally next year we charge a bit more for camping, because to get our first one going, we did everything on the cheap just to try and get it passed. And just get a feel for it all. But now we've worked out where we can make a lot more money on it for the club. And so anyway, we're going to look at that and just see how we go. But yeah, $20 for non-camping, for non-powered, $25 for camping. For powered camping. And look, lovely grassy sites and things like that. So Jude and I just took the ute with the awning on the back, put all the awnings out, and that was us, all done. We only had to walk 50, 60 metres to the amenities. The amenities were lovely, you know, nice shower. I stitched Greg up, and I didn't know I'd stitched him up. After dinner Friday night, they had a $15 exhibitor barbecue on the Friday night, and after that we went back and yeah, just went and had a shower and got ready for bed, sort of thing. You know, and it was only 8 o'clock at night, sort of thing. So, but after a big day driving, we were all happy to go and have a snooze. So, yeah, so I went into the shower. There was 3 cubicles. I went into the shower up the far right. Because no one had been using the showers, because we were all over having dinner, well, I turned the water on, and I'm soaping up and all that, and it's bloody freezing. The water's cold, and I thought, God, it's taken ages for this bloody water to get through. And but anyway, I kept going, had a bit of a cold shower. Then towards the end of it, the shower got warm, and so it was nice. Yeah, nice, finished off nicely, nice warm shower, and bloody put me duds on and headed away. So I got back to camp, and I said to Greg, buddy, yeah, look, you might have to, when you get in there, turn the shower on, because it took ages and ages for the hot water to go through. And he's, yeah, all right. Well, anyway, come back. He says, you stitched me up, you bastard. I said, what? And, what happened, he went, I was on the far right and he was on the far left shower. And instead of having like a shower rose where just the water went down like normal, it was shooting out. But because I'd already been over for the shower and all the hot water had kicked in, and there was hot water in the pipes, well, he turns the tap on, still with his long pants and that on, and this pipe with no shower rose comes shooting on him. Bloody soaked him from his knees down with his duds on. He said, "You set me up, you bastard." And I said, "Well, I didn't really." And he says, "The water was hot." He says, "Yeah, he just cranked it on because he thought, right, I'll crank her on and bloody, get the water to go through." But yeah, she just shot out and soaked him. So yeah, so bit of a laugh there. But anyway, it was a good thing. The grounds, look, there must have been, there might have been 20 tractors there. Good engine display. It was a smaller rally. And it wasn't a Kangaroo or anything like that. It was a smaller rally. Great atmosphere, good thing. The only thing I'm going to do next year is in the engine compound and that, everyone had thought to bring gazebos so they had a bit of shade, because it was bloody hot through the middle of the day. And where the tractors were, we all had gazebos at home, but I don't know, just never thought to take one. And so, we just, through the day, a couple of fellas come down from Kangaroo and things like that, but through the day it was bloody hot, and if you're out there talking with the tractors, you just got burnt, and I've still got a sunburn arm. I've got one sunburn there that seems to be bloody playing up, so anyway, might be a cancery thing. And, pardon me, so, it was bloody hot, so we had all the awnings out on our ute, so Mick and Margaret that we went up to the Cape with, and Dave and Jody lived down at Kalanga, and so they thought, while we're at Woodford, it's only 40 minutes away, they'd come and say g'day. Then Mick and Margaret come down from Mergen, which is a couple of hours away, so we all had a bit of a yarn there. But what happened through the day was all the tractor blokes, not all the tractor blokes, a heap of them, ended up all under our awnings, because we had the big 270 around, and I had another 3x2 metre one out the other side. So at one stage there would have been 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 of us under the awning there, because out in the paddock, you just bloody cook through the day. So I've been thinking of getting a nice heavy duty gazebo made. Now, Queensland Tractor Spares, we had this gazebo, the Queensland Tractor Spares, the blue one. Must have had that for 10 or 15 years, because before we sold the business, the frame is really good, and we'd lost a couple of screws, but the business is still going. Canopy Outdoors, I think they're called. But they supplied me new screws and all that, so I could just service it. And I had a cracked foot on it, and I think I've got a spare one over there. I had a cracked foot on it, so I put a new foot on it, and the early feet were just plastic where the other ones had tin underneath. And so I did that, and I put a new top on it for Dean, a newly printed top before he bought the business, and that was $750. So they're not cheap, but they're tough. They're good quality. A good quality gazebo, or marquee, some people call them. Anyway, but 3 metre by 3 metre. So I've been thinking of getting a Bundy Bear shed one, so when we go to shows and things like that, I can just pop it out in the paddock near the tractors, put a couple of camping chairs there, and we can just sit and yarn. And anyone that follows the channel, I'd like them to feel comfortable to come and have a chat, and come and say g'day. And the other tractor blokes around, you get 6 or 8 blokes sitting around in the shade having a chat, and if someone comes along and wants a question about their tractor, we can help, I'm sure. But apart from that, it sort of promotes the channel a bit, which, I don't know, it's not high on my list promoting the channel. It's just one of those things that bobs along. And but I just thought about getting a nice gazebo made, so when I'm at a tractor show, I can put it near the tractors. We can sit and talk tractors and have a bit of shelter, whether it's rain or sun or whatever we need. Most often sun in Australia. And so I think that'll be on the go early in the new year, maybe, just for the next year rally season. The last one I had was 50mm round posts, and look, it was a bit heavy. A bit heavy to cart around sometimes, but I think the benefit of having it heavy, and I had a bag where you could wheel it along early in the piece, but it just buggered up over the years. And so I think having heavy, and we had sidewalls for it, so I remember up Billow one year, we had it at Billowheeler in the tractor paddock once more, and Dean's happy to lend us that one. It's just we got to remember to ask for it too. But we got sidewalls, and I remember up at Billowheeler one year, that coal southwester, because they have their rally in July, about the third weekend in July usually, and yeah, that wind, holy geez, just a sneaky breeze, and yeah, she was bloody cold, but yeah, we were able to put 2 walls up and just deflect the wind and have a bit of sun and that. So I think what I would do is get some walls. It's no burden to carry the walls under the mattress in the ute or something like that. So that'll be next year's project. But I was hoping to come back and work on tractors this week, but I mentioned last week about doing the office up the front there. And look, Jude and I have been chugging away at that. We've got all that shelving is gone now on one wall, and the wall's been scrubbed. I've got just a plastic table there with a bit of junk on it that I've got to clean today. But we made the decision now to strip everything out of that room. So where I do my editing, my little table I have there and all that's all going into the pool room for a little while. And the concrete floor where the marks are on the floor, we've got to clean that up best we can. I'll probably use some of that, look, CRC brake cleaner or something like that connects out in. And then I went to Bunnings yesterday and had a chat to them, and it's not epoxy, it's paving paint. Hello. It's not paving paint, but it's not epoxy, it is paving paint, but there's still a 3-step process, like, you know, get all the grease marks off that you can, see if the water beads, and keep going until it doesn't. And then there's like an acid wash which roughens the top up a little bit to remove any stains, any shininess, to help it stick. And then there's 2 litres of, it's only 20 square metres, and the undercoat, I've got 2 litres of that. It does 12 square metres per litre. So yeah, there's a primer you put on to help it etch it into the concrete, and then there's a top coat. So I've gone for a slightly darker concrete look. Yeah, it's just a grey, and I thought about going a light grey to brighten it up a bit, and I thought, well, no, I don't really need that in there. I'd be better having a darker one that shows less scuffs and marks. So it's not dark, like it's not, what would I say? It's not a real dark grey. It's sort of a, yeah, look, your standard look of concrete, it's a couple of shades darker than that. And so I went and bought all that yesterday, and the process started yesterday of pulling everything out of there and, yeah, bringing it back into the pool room just so we got a clear floor. And look, I was putting it off because there's a freezer, then those black toolboxes I've got there with the bookshelves on the top, and see, we wanted to shift all that anyway, but so you can't go acid etching and mucking around and leave that there, so it's all got to come out. So luckily the drawers on those toolboxes, I think the toolboxes in there at the moment are Gufor, Gufor. They're cheaper ones I bought years ago off eBay, before Trade Tools was in town. And I went into Trade Tools yesterday, and I've got the red toolboxes that you can see up here, but down the row, down behind my workbench, I've got like 3 of those big grey toolboxes, 3 42-inch ones with the top boxes and all the drawers for that, and that's got like lathe tooling and taps and die sets and all that. Well, I don't need all of that up the front there. I'm going to have a vise there so I can hang on to something and have a fiddle around. But I went into Trade Tools yesterday. Look, Trade Tools Bundaberg, they're a great buddy company to deal with for me. I go in and chat to them, and they're just nice blokes. So I've bought 2 bottom boxes now. I think they're a 6-drawer black bottom box, and so that'll match the boxes on the other side. And I've got 1 red stacker box down the side there that I put all my office stuff in. And actually, I should go and ask them if they got a black one. It'd look nicer. But I've bought 2 more toolboxes. They're $500 each. Look, trade tools always help out. You know, they always give me well, I don't shop anywhere. I just go straight to trade tools. I don't go to Sydney Tools or Total Tools or anything like that. I just go straight to trade tools. Say, hey, I see online you've got this, and bloody, does it get a bit cheaper if I buy a couple? So that's what we did. They did me a good deal yesterday on 2 new bottom boxes. I might buy the 3rd one yet. And what that does for me, I leave the wheels off and I just sit them flat on the concrete. Then where that little bit of foam on the top is, I take that out and put a piece of ply in the full width of there, and then I get 2 pieces of 20mm form ply on the top, and that's my top bench. And I found that works great over the years. Sometimes I screw the 2 together so they don't move, but normally they don't. And this time I'm going to paint the edge black, because I've just left it the grey, that the sealer that they put on. I was looking at it the other day thinking, you could have painted that, you lazy prick. So we did that, and then I went to Bunnings and bought some extra paint, bought the paving paint for the floor. So probably very little going on in the shed this week. It'll all be up that end. My big old chair, I've got a comfy chair that cost me $400 after the floods, and it had a plastic base on it, and I took that plastic, well, I took the little round black wheels off, and you can buy rollerblade wheels that go onto them. And I put rollerblade wheels on my chair, but somewhere or other one of the legs is cracked on it, and it broke the bottom bit, and I didn't want to chuck the chair out because it's just a cracker thing, and it helped me back when my back was playing up more. It helped that no end just to have the support through the day. And so I've had it for 12 years, this chair, and the bottom broke. And so I've just put it aside, and I was looking around. I had an old cheap plastic chair that I tried to bang the bottom off, and I couldn't do that. But anyway, on Temu the other day, I had a look at Temu, and here's a base for $50. And so I went and measured. It has a hole down the guts of 50mm, and my tube was around pretty close to 50mm. And I thought with 50mm they might have meant, you know, the pipe was sort of tapered, so the 50mm one would go and hit the taper. But being Temu, it's just a bit different. But I've wrapped a little bit of alfoil around the chair post and jammed it in, and it's made it solid. I've bounced up and down and that, and so I've got my good chair back again, which is bloody good. And those little rollerblade wheels, I think I bought them off Amazon for $60 for the 5 of them. And when you're on soft floors and things like that, it just rolls so much easier on these rollerblade wheels. So, and all you do, you just pull the black wheels out and pop the rollerblade wheels up, and it works like a beauty. So yeah, it's a good thing. So I got that back going yesterday, but I didn't get the stew done. I come back, you know, I was in town for a fair while, and I come back from there, and Big Bad Laurie come for a yarn, so that was nice. I had a yarn with him, and then I thought, oh, I'll try and get up the back and do the stew. Then my mate Paulie out of the club, he rolled in for a yarn. He's been having radiation treatment on a mark on his lung, and he was just feeling shit, you know, sick of sitting at home and all that. So he rang up the other day, and I said, oh, I'll come out Tuesday for a yarn. So we sat yarning for a couple of hours, just chewing the fat, and then FedEx come with the base for my chair, so I put that on, and then yeah, Jude went to line dancing yesterday. Her and Glenda go to line dancing all the time, and yeah, Jude was coming home. She had to pick the kids up because young fella was working late. So next thing we had the grandkids there and what's to eat, and got the fridge door open and the whole thing. So absolutely bloody nothing happened. And I did come up after Paulie and that left to do the stew, but the bloody helicopters were going over again from the firefighting thing. The doors were banging, and I thought, oh bugger it, I'll just come up here in the morning and do it. So it's Wednesday morning I'm doing the stew this time, so it's a little bit late, but I'll go up and I'll do the edit and get that out, and then all my computer stuff has to leave the office. I've got to pull it all apart and take it out into the pool room where I've got the table set up there so I can still keep going, because I imagine by the time we clean the wall, we are thinking of painting one of the walls, but by the time we do the painting and all that, it's probably going to be a couple of weeks out of action, so I need to set up an office because the bloody emails I get just incredible. But I don't mind helping, but yeah, a lot of emails. So I'll see how we go. I might drop a few shorts out there. I dropped a few shorts out from Woodford, mainly a few tractors that took my fancy. There was a little 35X there I was going to get, but I just, you know, I don't know what happened, just didn't get to it. And but anyway, next year we're going to Woodford next year. Greg and myself and that, we made up our mind. We're going to go take Big Bad Laurie with us. He couldn't come this time, and see if we can. I've been on to Ian Pinney out at Tarong. He can come. Yeah, I told him I'm going to line you up next year. He said, yeah, that's all right. So I'm going to have a bit of a rouse around and see if we can get a few more tractors and make it a bit bigger show with them. Yeah, and it was just a good show. It was just a nice show to be at. Everyone was friendly, and yeah, it was just a good thing. They were chatting about our rally, and they were quite impressed with some of the stuff we did, which is nice, and how we did it. They asked questions about some things, and we just swapped info. You can never stop learning with all that stuff. So yeah, it was a great thing. While I was in Trade Tools yesterday in Bundaberg, I got something to show you. Now I know you're going to be excited, but just hang on. I should have had it here. And look, the whole world probably knows about these, but I'm just finding out about them. Look, what it is, it's a product called, and look, I bought this isn't sponsored in any way, Mark's Mate. And that's what it looks like. It's about $14 at Trade Tools in Bundaberg. And what it does is on the back there, just Google Mark's Mate, and what it does is if you have a hole in a piece of timber, and you want to you've got a hole in a piece of timber, and say it's 40 mil or 1.5 inches thick, and you've got a hole drilled and you want to transfer that to the wall, well, normally you've got to get like a Pixar pen or something like that, or something down the hole and scratch away and get the hole. And what this little thing does, it's a little paint cylinder, and like it won't go in there, but when you line this little tit up, that's looking a bit glary. When you line this little tit up here with that little slot, well then it can put a little squirt out there for you. So I was looking at that and I thought, you know what that'd bloody do? So I reckon that'd be good for doing gaskets. Now, how would it be good for doing gaskets? And I was talking to them in Trade Tools yesterday, and I said, I want a couple of those bloody things for doing gaskets. And I said, what are you talking about? And I said, I reckon, I mean, if you had a gasket down a hole, like it's got a taper there so you can sort of centre it, you can line that up and go, and that will give you the centre of the holes for knocking holes in a gasket. Because in gaskets, when you're making gaskets for tractors, you have the same problem. You try and get down a deep hole, and you know, say it's a 3/8 hole, or a hole for a 3/8 bolt. Well, most pencils and biros or 5/16, they won't fit down the hole. So I'll just show you what I'm talking about here. Now we're going to pretend this old bit of cardboard is a piece of gasket paper, and so, and this is an old water pump housing off a TE20. So I've been playing with that here, so I better take my old marks off. So say we want to transfer, so just say this hole here to the gasket. If I line the little slot up there and just go, there's the centre of your holes. So that's pretty good, isn't it? So anyway, I liked it. I saw them using it on a building thing, and I think a little ad might have come up on Facebook or something, and I thought, geez, I've never seen that before. And so it's Mark's Mate, M-A-R-X, M-A-T-E, and look, for that there, like getting down those little 5/16 holes, they're clearance for 5/16, I think, and by putting the paint mark there, you should be able to pick the centre of that green dot, and there's your mark. So anyway, that's just something I made up. I saw them doing posts, and you know, you say you wanted a bit of timber on a brick wall, and yeah, you had the hole in the timber, and you just had to fix that so you could put a little wall out or something, and they were just going chunk, 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 just to mark the hole so they could bring the masonry drill in and drill the holes. In the past, I would have just had the holes and put the drill in. But anyway, this is a bit fancier. So yeah, look, just a thing that I found the other day. Probably been around for 100 years, and I'm a slow learner. Slow at picking it up, but yeah, just look, it's an option for you, eh? If you can hold the gasket flat or a bit of whatever, you can just pop the centres and get your holes in. But yeah, just what I chose to have a fiddle with through the week. So yeah, you might enjoy it too. But yeah, Trade Tools Bundaberg, $14. Yeah, I think they were $14. I bought them when I bought the toolboxes, so that's what I think the price was. But yeah, just another way of thinking of things. I still haven't found a washer for this injection pump for the FE35, but look, to tell you the truth, I've got all the parts to go forward with the 65 now, and some on the 35, but I've got to get this reno done on the office. I want to get it done where the roller door's going up. We do have a few snakes and things like that around our area, which is just fine, you know, we don't care. But we don't want them in the house. So I went to Nita Blinds in Bundaberg yesterday. And where the roller door is, where my office is going to be, that's the old garage. I've already put an aircon in and, you know, put the blind in last week and things like that. Well, where the roller door is, I'd like to be able to leave the roller door up on a nice cool days and have a bit of fresh air flowing through, because I have the back door of the house there. There's a toilet there too with a window, and sometimes you get a lovely breeze through there. So sitting there with the natural breeze without the aircon on mightn't be bad. So I've been to Nita Blinds. They're coming on Friday to give us a quote on where the roller door is. We're keeping the roller door, but to put a couple of barn doors, screen doors there, security doors, so I can have the roller door up, not have the vermin come in or flies and, you know, mosquitoes, whatever's around, and still have natural airflow. So they're coming to do that. But then I was looking on the architraves, I don't know, the frame around the door, and we've been in the house 22 years now, and I haven't painted that ever since the initial paint, and I see a little bit of a flake coming down the bottom. So I think it might be off to Bunnings, and I've got the sand and stuff here for sand and tractors. So yeah, I think it might be sand that down and paint it before we get the screen put in. And look, it's just a couple of doors that, you know, hinge out, but they're going to be security. We're going to have security top and bottom and things like that. So yeah, just to make it nice. So for the next probably week or so, I'm just going to be working on the office. There's a bit of heavy lifting. I'm going to take the forklift up when I finish the stew and get that underway. But look, we'll just see how we go. So, but yeah, there may not be much tractor work for a week. It's just how it's got to be, just to get this new studio. Well, it's an office, but at one end I'm thinking of having like you can buy a studio backdrop sort of thing. And depending on how the cameras film across the room and the light and all that, I might get a studio backdrop made for having a chat. And look, we do have the opportunity to have a chat with other people. You know, these microphones, you can have one each and just sit there chatting like a podcast. But I don't know if I want to do that. It's just that there's an opportunity there if we choose to. But I would like to cover some of the service bulletins and tips and tricks, and yeah, just have chats and things like that. And you know, maybe even go live one time for a Q&A session or something like that, as in, you know, help fix your tractor or something like that. Because sometimes you can say more in a short period of time than you can type, or you might be able to explain it better with words than typing, but AI might sort that out anyway. So, but anyway, look, I've rambled on enough for the day. I better get up the front and do me stuff. I've got the CRC hat on. It must be bloody, I've had a look, it must be time for the new CRC bloody order to go in. Last week, look, thank you everyone for the birthday wishes last week. I turned 65, and it always just makes me wonder how I got so old and stayed so good looking, and I'm sure you'll agree. But anyway, a bit of bullshit goes a long way, eh? But yeah, we're out at the rally the other day, and my mate Russell from Kangaroo, he's sold farms and things like that. You know, he can't get a pension or anything, and I can't get a pension. Well, I'm not the right age yet, but I retired early, and we're self-funded. And he says, "Oh, you'll be able to get the seniors card now." And I said, "I won't be getting a bloody seniors card." And he said, "No, because you're 65 and not working full time, you can have a seniors card." And I said, "Well, what am I going to do with the bloody seniors card?" And he says, "Oh, you go to Subway and you order your Subway and you get $1 off." And I said, "I'm not going to fucking root around doing that." And he says, "Oh, and you get one cheap rego a year." So then my ears pricked up. And so I had a look yesterday. I applied for a seniors card yesterday, so I'm old. I'm officially old. And I had a look at the V8, and my Land Cruiser's a V8, and with the seniors card, with third-party insurance, my rego on the V8 goes from $1,200 a year to $930 or something like that. So that's what got me across the line for the seniors card. I thought, if I can have one car on cheap rego, on concession or rego, it might be okay. But the trouble with the ute at the moment, it's still in the company name, and I mean, we're sorting that out with the accountant, because capital gains, because we wrote the ute off through the process of the business, if I take that into my name now, and it's probably worth $80,000 still, I'll probably get a $20,000 tax bill for getting my own car transferred to myself. But in the meantime, it looks like, even though I'm running the car for myself, I'm running the fuel, I'm paying for the rego, tyres, everything personally, it's just the company owns it. Well, for driving my own car around, I'll probably get a tax bill, a fringe benefits tax bill from the company. Even though we're not taking a wage or anything like that out of the company, we just got the money sitting, the company money sitting there for when we got to pay capital gains on the business. But it looks like there's a couple of things in the business we might get out of paying a bit of that, so I'm hoping. So yeah, with the ute, I'll have to decide, and it costs us every year with a company. You've got to put in a company report, and that costs you, like, it can be a couple of $1,000 to have that, you know, have the company audited and say that you're trading or you're not trading, and you know the company's still fluid. You know, it's not going to go under, and things like that. So look, it may be worth it by the time we have to pay the company thing, and you know, to pay to have the company done, because we could shut the company down. That's the only thing left in the company name. We could shut the company down, so there's a saving every year. And then the fringe benefits tax, I don't know what that is yet, but I won't have to pay that every year. But I still pay the rego personally for the car because I'm using it. So it may be worth taking a $20,000 or whatever it might be tax hit now, just to have it all cheaper later. You know, it might take a few years for it to square away, but maybe how it is. But that's the Australian tax system. God, they hit you up. Another tax bill this week. So anyway, they're bloody good to be good to us, eh? I should have just sat on my arse all my life and bloody sat down the pub and bet on racehorses, and the government would look after me. But because we went and had a red hot shot and had stress and worry and all that, well, yeah, we're lucky enough to get tax bills. So anyway, it doesn't matter, and we'll survive. So anyway, look, thanks for dropping by, everyone. like I say, not much happening this week in the shed because we're doing the other, but I might drop a couple of shorts out for you just to keep you entertained, and we'll see how we go. So thanks everyone, have a good week, and yeah, we'll catch you all next week, eh? See ya. And for those who are interested, this is the black snow I talk about, and it's just a bit of ash, really, that gets on the vehicles. And yeah, it's nothing serious, doesn't stain or anything like that. You can see a little bit on the matting out in front of the shed. So yeah, it only happens in the cane season, so yeah, that's part of living in Bundaberg or living in the sugarcane area. It's just when people say black snow, it just goes up, it's that light, then it comes down to land in another area.